I would ask for a motion that conducting the meeting electronically is necessary to protect public health, safety, and welfare in the light of the coronavirus.
So moved.
Got a motion, do I hear a second? Okay, roll call.
Who made the motion?
Commissioner Dodd. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Cook? Yes. Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Chairman McAdoo?
Yes. Okay, first order on the agenda is approve the minutes. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have read the minutes and find everything to be in order, so I would move for their approval.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's right. Call the roll.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook? Chairman McAdoo?
Yes. Okay, next on the agenda, I'm going to turn it over to our mayor. We got a presentation on the roof, and he's going to make the introduction and conduct that portion of this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Tonight we have with us a presentation, and I asked Director Mankin to be here. Now, tonight is Director Mankin's mother's 90th birthday, so that's why I asked to put this at the beginning so he can go celebrate, he and Kim go celebrate his mom and tell her happy birthday for 90 years old. We haven't seen her in a long time. I haven't, and we miss her. But give her those greetings for us on behalf of the Rutherford County Commission. But I thought it was important if Ben can spend 30 minutes with us and hear this presentation. Ben had gotten our roof, you know, we had done a patch upstairs where we had the leak back over here on the south, no, it'd be the west, between the west and the north corner. I guess that'd be a northwest corner, up on the third floor. We patched it, but in order to go into next year's budget, Ben had gotten a quote to rip off the roof and put on a new modified roof, which is existing up there, for around $400,000. I started checking and ran across an ad from ASTEC Roofing Systems. They're based out of New York. They also have, they're all over the country. Their manufacturers in Florida, and I believe Mr. John Brock will be joining us electronically, and Mr. Tony Todd lives in Lebanon with his company that he's authorized to do business with, ASTEC Roofing. So at this point in time, if you'd come on up, Mr. Todd, and he's already been up on top of our roof about a week or so ago and looked at it, and feels like it was a candidate. He brought a moisture meter with him. I was impressed that we didn't have any moisture spots on our roof. So you can come right up here to the well, and you can make your presentation. And
John, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. John Brock is a sales rep for the Southeast region for ASTEC. He's going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation. He's long-winded, folks. I've told him to narrow this down.
yeah, we got a birthday party to go to.
But his presentation is going to take about an hour. And then after he finishes PowerPoint, I will go through with you guys the roof survey that was conducted on the facility and the proposal, and give you guys some handouts.
Yeah, Ben, you can leave Rob if you want to,
Yeah.
let him get into it and then leave, and whenever you feel appropriate. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Mr. Brock, you have the floor.
First and foremost, I just want to thank everybody who has taken time this evening to be able to learn a little bit more about what we do and how we do it. I have worked for Insulating Coatings Company, which is now owned by ICP Construction, for the last 14 years. And over the last 14 years, I have learned a lot about the industry, obviously a lot about ASTEC, but really a lot about what other options are out there for roofing. We've seen all kinds of different roofing systems, and we've saved some of the largest corporations throughout the United States hundreds of millions of dollars on roofing. We have been manufacturing our product for the last 35 years. And over the last 35 years, we have done roughly 500 million square feet of roofing. And at this time, if I can get control of the actual presentation, then I'll be able to share my screen and walk you through a presentation. Okay, just want to verify everybody can see the Rutherford County, Tennessee, the courthouse there on their screen. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Perfect. Okay. There's a lot of different roofing options that are out there. Fluid applied membranes, or coatings as they have been called through the years, have existed for roughly 30 years. There's a lot of different benefits to them, and the misconception that is out there is that we're simply painting a roof. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, you will understand that this is actually not a paint. We are actually building a fluid applied membrane over the existing roof. There's no tear off, there's no business interruption, there's no haul away fees, no landfill fees. We build a seamless, fully adhered, monolithic system over the entire roof after we have fully qualified the roof. As the manufacturer, we hold the warranty, not the contractor. That's to the building owner's best interest. We warranty the product, we warranty their labor. We own that roof essentially after we walk off it for the full 10 or 15 years. That's the uniqueness of what we do. Now, as a fluid applied manufacturing product, there's a lot of things that really separate us. Number one, you can't go to Lowe's or Home Depot or ABC Supply and pick up ASTEC. And we do that for a purpose. We're more factory direct. In all honesty, we are the premium product in terms of an elastomeric acrylic product in the industry. So therefore it costs more to make our product, but the benefit being we do not go through distribution. If you go through distribution in our industry, you're manufacturing a lower grade product, but then you have to pay everybody in the middle a piece of the pie by the time it gets to Mr. Building Owner's desk, if you will. So by manufacturing the premium product, we go factory direct, we cut out all the extra cost. One of the unique things with us is that we only allow authorized certified contractors, as in Mr. Tony Todd of Roofing Solutions, to install our products. The benefit of not going through distribution is we know who's putting it down, what it's going over, and how it is going down. Otherwise, we would not warranty the job. There is a plethora of different fluid applied products out there that you can pick up from Sherwin-Williams, any other store, but there is very little to any quality control. And quality control is essential in how we do business. And for that reason, that is one of the many things that separates us. Is Tony is trained, he is continually trained, he has been vetted by us, so that When he gets up on the roof, he does a core sample or a moisture scan. We know what we're going over. We know how many inches of insulation. We know if it's a metal deck, if it's a wood deck, if it's a concrete deck. And as Tony can testify, there are plenty of roofs that he's been on where we said, you know what, it's just not going to work for us. They can tear it off. They can put something else on there. We don't feel good putting our product over that roof. Somebody else will, but we do not. And this particular roof that we're going to go through, it absolutely does qualify for our system. And Tony will go into specifics when I'm done with this presentation about that. What I'd like to do now is kind of go through the process of who we are, what we do, and really what our capabilities are. Again, we have been doing this for so long with so many different large corporations. It's gotten to the point over the last 15 years where some of the largest corporations in America are knocking on our door. The second largest retailer in the United States approached me 2.5 years ago with a unique situation in Southern California on their facilities. Since then, we've done 14 of their facilities in Southern California. From food processing to warehousing to distribution to municipalities. We are very big in school districts. In the Orlando, Florida area last year, we put out roughly 35,000 gallons of our product through various schools, and you'll see a list of some of those schools listed here shortly. So point being is we know what we're doing. We've been manufacturing the same product for 35 years, and we're very good at it. It is a combination of the right product, the right specifications, the right roof, and the right guy at the end of the gun. This is a sprayed-on application most of the times. There are unique situations where it is a rolled-on application. Either or is acceptable in order to receive our warranty. Some of the discussion things we're going to go through is really saving money on roofing budgets. There are ample enough different ways in which we save money. It's just not upfront with our cost versus your tear-off cost or your roof overlay cost. There's additional savings. And when we talk savings, we're talking about you might have a budget of X amount for your roofing, but when we come in and we cut that in half in some cases, or a third and more, now you have additional funds to be spent elsewhere, and you're still getting the best warranty in the industry. And we'll get into that. So we're going to talk about sustainability and really what is cool roofing, where to repair, replace, and reply. There are definitely options. Tony's going to get into a little bit of life cycle costs. And we're going to talk about being green friendly. We do work with a lot of different corporations that they're very interested in being quote unquote green, if you will. And we're going to talk about that. There's plenty of places where we use ASTEC, but there's also places where we don't use it. Coatings are not designed, fluid applied membranes are not designed for every roof. That is absolutely true. And we know where we work and we know where we don't work. How to evaluate a potential roof and how the system is installed. Again, this isn't a paint job. This is a fully adhered, fluid applied, monolithic membrane we are building over the existing roof. So 35 years, 500 million square feet. There is a 10 or a 15-year manufacturer's renewable product and labor warranty. What that means by renewability, and we just did this back in 2015 on one of the most notable jobs we've done. You'll see photos of it later in the presentation. The Pensacola Naval Air Museum. If any of you have been down to the Pensacola area, we did it in 2005. They asked us to come out and redo it again in 2015, of which we did. So when the warranty comes up for renewability at the end of its life cycle, at the end of the warranty, you have the choice of having us come out, cleaning the roof, making any spot repairs, preventative maintenance as needed. The roof has already been waterproofed, so there's no need to waterproof it. We simply clean the roof and we install another 2 passes of our finished product over the entire roof. Once installed, we turn around and reissue another 10-year product and labor renewable and sustainable warranty. That is something you do not get from a typical roof application. That is one of the unique things with what we do and how we do it. We talked about being monolithic. There are no seams on our system. We are Miami-Dade approved for wind uplift, which is very, very important. We have our product over the New Orleans Convention Center. And when Hurricane Katrina hit the Convention Center as a Category 4, I vividly remember watching that on TV as the Superdome's roof was peeling back. They were busing people into buses and sending them over to the Convention Center. After Hurricane Katrina, we had 3 to 5 leaks on that building. Again, with no seams, there's nowhere for the wind to get up underneath it and to lift the roof. Therefore, we are Miami-Dade approved. Again, one of the most stringent in the United States. We also are an ISO registered corporation. For those of you that don't know what that means, that is the International Standardization of Organization. It basically means we get audited once a year on our manufacturing process. They come in, they inspect everything with a fine-tooth comb to make sure we're doing the same things consistently. Most of the large ISO manufacturing corporations worldwide would prefer to do business with someone who is ISO because they understand the details that go in to achieving that and maintaining it. And we are one of but a handful of the hundreds of fluid applied companies that are out there that are ISO registered. So that is important to us. We also are charter members of the Cool Roof Rating Council. The other way that we can really save a lot of money, not only is it versus that next bid, but it's energy savings. Up to 65 degrees temperature differential on the roof surface in some cases. So when you translate that over air-conditioned space, you're looking at as much as a 40% energy saving. That's not our number. That is a number that is supported by the Department of Energy over air-conditioned space. If it's non-air-conditioned space, if it's just a warehouse, if it's just distribution and there's no air conditioning in there, we've been proven to drop the internal temperature anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees on the inside. So you're talking a much cooler environment for working for non-air conditioned space, and you're also looking at a lower energy cost to thus get your return on your investment even quicker. There is no shutdown facility. There's no shutdown time. We do this over schools in the middle of school. Since our products are all environmentally friendly and they have an extremely low VOC, there's no need for any hazmat material or any face mask or anything of that nature. Unlike other products in the industry, siliconized products, for instance, that have to wear all sorts of protective gear, all of our products are environmentally friendly. Any of those return vents that are on the roof that suck air into the building, there is no harm that can become from our products. That's important to know. And again, we are environmentally friendly with all the products. This particular facility is Interplast Group. It's in southern Texas. It's a 3 million plus square foot facility. The reason I show you this is because you can bet that a company of this size doesn't just Google roof coatings and go with the first one. They have a risk management department. They have a lot of people that do a lot of research on the products that they choose to use. And our contractors who've been with us for over 25 years in Texas, Energy Coating Systems, came in, and this particular company, Interplast Group, gave us roughly 100,000 square feet at a time. And we've continued to make our way through this project. Some of you may have heard of Jacobs Engineering Group, a very large organization here in our United States. You'll see a before here on the left, you'll see an after on the right. Again, this is several hundred feet up, the size of this facility. We had only bid this building originally, but things went so well that we ended up doing all the facilities that were there on the grounds, and you can see that there in the photo. Jeff Davis County Schools, this is a job that I sold in Jeff Davis County, Georgia. The city was Hazelhurst. This was their high school. This was a modified cap sheet roof, which is similar to your courthouse roof. And we put a system on here, a fluid applied system. You have the before, you have the during on the right, and then you have a drone photo of the after. We actually were brought this job by a company called ABM out of the Atlanta area. They're an energy consultant group that companies hire to come in and show you how you can save money. And they chose to go with the ASTEC system for the roof. You can see the HVAC units up there. I actually got a call several months later after we installed our system. They were worried that their ACs were broke because they weren't kicking on. Again, when you drop the roof surface temperature as much as 65 degrees, you're dropping your HVAC substantially when you have that many units up there. And they don't have to be serviced as often as well. So big benefits when you start looking at things this way. And of course, I've got a plethora of different reference letters from superintendents and different people throughout our organization. I touched briefly on the Naval Air Museum in Pensacola, Florida, brought to us in 2005. You notice the roof on the left was a cap sheet roof, a granulated cap sheet roof, and the one on the right, the black one, is what we refer to as a black EPDM roof. The leaks were so severe in this museum that before ASTEC was installed, they actually had constructed an internal guttering system that drained rainwater into 50-gallon drums. That's how bad this roof was. Since then, again, we did it in 2005. We were contacted again in 2015, and we put the recoat on it in 2015. Sustainability, that's a word we throw out there a lot. You know, what is sustainability? Well, it minimizes the burden on the environment, which in these days, we all feel that there should be a sense of urgency. It conserves the energy, and it extends the life of your roof by improving the long-term performance. We talked about temperature differential. These black EPDM roofs that you see here, the very bottom, 173 degrees. And then once you put our system in place, you're looking at what can actually happen and what happens once we're done. We're typically somewhere within 5 to 10 degrees of the ambient temperature outside. So we need to evaluate, do roofs actually need to be torn off? Our network of contractors consists of roofers, waterproofing companies, commercial painters. A lot of different types of fields can install our system. Roofers make their living by ripping roofs completely off. But what's happened over the last 20 years is they realize not everybody has the funds to go back and pay X amount of dollars to tear the whole roof off, or they can't afford the downtime. So roofers have come to us, and we've been able to recruit roofers as well, as a way of continuing for them to stay in front of their clients by offering a legitimate long-term solution through fluid applies, which is much more of a financial, I'm trying to figure out how to say this, much easier on the wallet, I guess is a better way to say it. When we evaluate roofs, we have to know what is the condition of what's under that roof. You can't just go throw any product up on a roof and walk away from it. There are plenty of people that do that. But again, we hold the warranty, so we have to make sure we got the right contractor. He sends photos to us of the core sample, of the deck, of the roof, of everything that needs that we have to file away, and we have to make sure this roof actually qualifies. What type of insulation? How many inches of insulation? This is not a paint job. This is actually a very, very in-depth process. What are the actual roofing issues? What do the flashings look like? What type of deck is underneath there? Is it metal? Is it wood? Is it concrete? Tony's going to go into a little bit more information on this later on, but when we look at life cycle costs, if you're looking for long-term benefits, what we have here is we've got a conventional roofing system approach on the left, and then we've got the ASTEC system on the right. So by code, by national code, once you have two roofs that are up there, meaning your first roof might have been a tar and gravel roof, and then they came back years later, they removed the gravel, or in some cases they left it on, and then they put a rubber roof over top of that. Now you have two roofs in place. By code, your only options are to, one, tear off one of those roofs and put a new roof on, or option two, go with the fluid applied product. And so that's important to know. Now, in this slide right here, you see a 2020 roof system. On a conventional system approach, you clean the roof, assuming there's one roof up there, and you can put another roof on top of it. For us, we go directly over that roof. We are a sustainable system, whereas a conventional roof system is not a sustainable system. We have a 15-year, up to a 15-year renewable and sustainable warranty. What does that mean? That means for the full 15 years, if you have any issues on your roof, it is a phone call. You don't have to keep sending the local guy and his ladder to get up there and patch a hole with tar or silicone or any other product. We own that roof. It's a phone call. With a conventional roofing system, you do get a 15-year warranty, but it's very important you pay attention to the details. Most of the time, it is a 15-year, 20-year, 30-year product-only warranty, not a leak-free warranty, product-only warranty, unless they pay for what's referred to as an NDL, or no dollar limit, which is an extremely expensive additional charge for new types of roofs. So there's a big difference there. Our warranties are renewable. Another roof type system, if you tear it off and put another roof up there, or you put another roof on top of what you have there, is not a renewable warranty. Both systems are considered a capital expense. At the third generation of a new roof, you have to start over. What I mean by that is if you have two roofs up there, you have to tear off. You have to go back again to the beginning. You don't do that with us. Again, you're going to pay to renew that warranty less than what you paid to put the roof on in the first place. You're not going back and spending 100% of your initial investment. So there are benefits when you start looking at the third, fourth, and fifth generation. Again, we simply clean the roof. We put the product 2 to 3 more passes of the finish coat directly back on the existing roof to rebuild the thickness, the mill thickness of the product, and we go about the day. And that's it. We continue to do that. And both systems have a transferable warranty. A truly green roof should be identified as a roofing system that is designed, constructed, maintained, rehabilitated, and demolished with an emphasis throughout its life cycle on using resources efficiently and preserving the global environment. And that is exactly what we do with the ASTEC system. So I'm going to go through here, and if you have any questions, we can save those to the end and we'll get through those. The problem with roofs is, number one, heat, what we refer to as thermal shock or expansion and contraction. In this photo here, you can see on the left, what happens is these metal roofs heat up during the daytime and they cool down during the evenings. They actually stretch. Some of these really large metal roofs can stretch 6 inches or more throughout the day because of expansion and contraction. So what happens with fasteners on a metal roof is they start backing out. Water gets in between there. Now you start rusting. When the fasteners start backing out, your seams, where the metal panels overlap each other, they start to open up. Wind-driven rain starts to get in through the fasteners. It starts to get in through those seams. Dirt and debris start filling up on that roof. Rust is a big problem on metal roofs as well. There's a lot of companies that will come out and just throw something over top of that rust. If it is not a rust inhibitor, and if you don't put the proper amount of coverage over that rust inhibitor or over the rusted spot, the rust will bleed through. So we're not a one product fixes everything. We're not going to get on the roof and throw one product over there and say, hey, this will fix your rust, this will fix your moisture underneath, this will fix all. It doesn't work that way. We have to address each and every individual problem on its own. And we have a rust inhibitor, which is specifically designed for encapsulating the rust. It shuts out the air and water in which it needs to continue to grow and expand. You can see here in this particular photo how seams begin to open up. A lot of times this is due to thermal shock. A lot of times this is due to poor installation on metal roofs. It is important on any type of roof, whether it's a metal, whether it's a what we call a cap sheet or an asphalt roof like the courthouse, or if it's a rubberized roof. Any pre-existing patchy material has to be cleaned. We can't just throw our product over this, what you see here on the left, and call it a day. We are only as good as what we adhere to. So if there's any patching material on a roof like tar or silicone or roof cement or anything of that nature, it takes time for the contractor to take a 5-in-1 or a grinding wheel and grind all of that off to get down to the original roof so that we have a coatable surface. We do address deteriorating skylights, and we address missing or loose foam inserts. I do realize a lot of you may have not been up on roofs before from a commercial standpoint, but on these commercial roofs, a lot of times the metal companies, when they put these roofs up there, they'll put these little foam inserts in these voids. The problem is they don't stay and they deteriorate. So over time, as you can tell on this slide, we have a system that is foolproof in stopping these issues. This is a very tedious and time-consuming process, but it is a foolproof system. In 15 years, I've never seen a leak come from this system once it is completed. And in some cases, it involves cutting the metal back, and then we fill the inside of the holes in the voids with an SPF closed cell polyurethane foam. The foam expands, we cut it back, and then we wrap it with cloth and we seal it with the reinforcing fabric and the ASTEC seaming system. And you can tell there in the bottom right photo that this is that section will never leak again. So on metal roofs, we tighten everything. We replace any fasteners that are wallowed out or they're rusted, then we'll take it out, we'll put the next size fastener in. Any line items, such as replacing fiberglass skylights with transite skylights or new fiberglass, or we don't need the metal, we don't need the fiberglass skylights anymore, so we can put metal up there. Those are things that our contractors are skilled and qualified to do. The process, the actual ASTEC product is applied by a hydraulic spray rig in most cases. In some cases, we do roll it like we will be doing on the courthouse. But the roof, first and foremost, has to be pressure washed and it has to be clean. Any areas that need to be repaired, get repaired. We seal the entire roof. There is not an area on that roof that does not get fully reinforced with a fibered cloth embedded into multiple layers of a waterproofing product. At some point there, Tony will show you a sample of our product, and you'll be able to feel for yourself and see the actual thickness of our product. Where I'm sitting right now, the paint on my walls is probably 2 to 3 mils thick. We build our membrane very similar to a rubberized roof where we're the same thickness or thicker. We're building a 50 mil system up to a 100 mil system depending on the roof. And that's the beauty of a fluid applied system, is it is customized specifically for your needs. On a rubberized roof, which we refer to as a single-ply roof, again, you're not going to get leaks out in the middle of the field. All leaks you're going to get around any penetrations that go through the actual roof, around your HVAC units, your exhaust pipes, your vents, your stacks, anywhere where there's a roof-to-roof transition, your gutter lines. All those things are areas where we pay extreme attention to, and we make sure that we seal everything the correct way. We address things such as lightning protection, as you can see here in this picture. Any conduit that's up there, that gets addressed as well. The boots that we call them, that go around a pipe that protrudes from the actual roof, there's usually a rubberized type boot. We seal around that rubberized type boot as well. We do have a specific way of addressing walk pads. There are various ways in which we address walk pads, and based on the roof, each roof is different. Whatever proposal we would put out for that particular building would have in detail what our suggested action would be for the walk pads. We'll go back here. One slide here on the left, ponding water. That's very, very important. Ponding water is referred to any water that sits in a designated spot on top of that roof for typically longer than a 24-hour period. The vast majority of fluid applied products in the industry will not give any warranty if you have water that's sitting on your roof. What I mean by that is you can see in the photo on your left that there is a seam that runs right through where that ponding water is. If there's a leak in that seam under that ponding water, the vast majority of fluid applied products will not cover that warranty. That will be on your dollar. With our type of product and what we do, we warranty 100% any ponding water. That doesn't mean we invite it, and there's a difference. Meaning if there's a way to get it off, Tony will figure that out. Meaning if we need to create we suggest putting in some internal drains. If we need to put foam up there and taper it towards one side of the roof, just because we withstand ponding water doesn't mean we invite it. So ideally, on flat roofs, you're gonna have ponding water somewhere. Ideally, we're gonna try to get it off. But if there's areas where it sits, and this is the beauty of a fluid applied, instead of 50 mils there, we might have 80 mils there. It will withstand ponding water. We passed a 5-year underwater test from the Miami-Dade Public School District, which I believe at the time was the 3rd largest school district in the United States. So unquestionably, and we've been spec'd for all of the public schools in Miami-Dade. So unquestionably, we do withstand ponding water. That's very important to note. That's covered in our warranty. Again, when you look at a single-ply roof, you've got wrinkles in the membrane, you've got different issues that need to be addressed, and all of our contractors are trained to address these individual needs as they arise. We make repairs, we address the roof, we seal it, we waterproof it, and we install our system. Now we're getting to your actual type of roof, which is referred to as an asphalt roof, or the courthouse is also referred to as a rolled roofing or a cap sheet roof. You have little granules that are on the roof that are there to help waterproof the roof. What happens though is over the course of time, because of the UV degradation that hits that roof, the granules let go, and then they start filling up, and in some cases, I mean, we've shoveled truckloads of granules off of some of the roofs we've done. A roofer would typically say you have to rip the whole thing off. In some cases, that is absolutely true, and we've walked away from plenty of those where there was just too much of the granules, and it wasn't going to be a economic decision for the building owner to put the fluid applied on there. But in this particular case with the courthouse, you definitely we have caught it in enough time where we are confident that we can do it. Same problems on an asphalt roof as any other roof: heat, thermal shock, leaks around penetrations, around your drains. A lot of times when the buildings are constructed, for whatever reason, the drains actually sits higher than the roof. So the water doesn't get off. It just sits there in ponds on the roof. That's really what our contractors like Tony specialize in, is being able to come in and say, hey, we can do the roof, but in order to get all this water off your roof, we suggest putting a drain here, here, and here, and that will eliminate the core of your problems. Repairs, we clean it, we waterproof it with multiple layers, and then we install our ASTEC fluid applied system. Now, what I want to get into now, and Tony said an hour, and I believe I'm going to be able to cut it shorter than that, so bear with me here. During the actual process, typically we'll inspect the roof. An ASTEC representative such as myself will come out and inspect the roof. It is not required. There is no continual maintenance requirement. We don't have to come out every month or every 6 months or every year to inspect the roof. Once the roof is down, it is down. Your warranty is issued. But when I do come into town for business, we do like to be able to get up on the roofs, make a formal introduction, and we like to see the quality of work that our contractors do. Our contractors are required to send us photos before, which I have, during the application, and after the application. And again, just another reference letter here, this is the sample warranty here for our 15-year system we put on the roof. So I mentioned how we do a lot of schools. We've done a lot of schools throughout the United States. We do a lot of public schools, a lot of private schools. We do a lot for our military, both stateside and abroad. We're in over 40 different countries. We've done U.S. embassies. So this is legitimate. We definitely have a long track record of doing business with credible organizations. These are some school projects here that we've done throughout the Southeast. Again, we did roughly 35,000 gallons in the Orlando Public School District area last year alone. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we've been doing and how we've been doing it. Now, the question is, if there's so many different coating companies out there, John Brock, then why use you? Why use ASTEC? And this is, and we're almost towards the end here, this is really what I want to get into, is we buy the premium roofing polymers from Dow Chemicals, the premium polymers, bar none. We buy the most of them, bar none, than any other fluid applied company in the world. Okay, we're the largest buyer of the 100% acrylic roofing polymers in the world from Dow Chemicals. That gives us the ability to put a renewable warranty on there for 10 or 15 years. It gives us the ability to withstand ponding water. It gives us the ability, because we're more or less factory direct, to be competitive in the marketplace. So those are a few of the reasons as why choosing ASTEC. We also believe that our contractors are the best contractors out there. For the type of businesses and organizations and entities that we're doing business with, you better put your best foot forward. And so that's why we have a very in-depth vetting process to get the right guy on your roof. And I do believe, as Mayor Catron has said, that you'll continue to be impressed by Tony and his professionalism and his company. That will definitely be something that's seen. And we're very, very, very happy to have Tony on board. He's been installing the system for over 10 years. He's got a long list of references. This is Chemistry 101. One of the actual head chemists for Dow Chemicals, who headed up their roofing polymer department. His name is Joe Rakowski. About 5 years ago, he retired from Dow Chemicals, and he had everybody knocking on his door for him to come work part-time with. And out of all the fluid applied companies, thankfully, Joe chose to come work for ASTEC. And so he created this slide and he explained it to us sales guys. We don't specialize in chemistry very much, but he did break it down for us where I can hopefully explain it to you in an easy way. Everybody says in the fluid applied industry, well, my product is 62% solids and your product is 62% solids. So why are you better? Mine is white and yours is white. Why are you better? And usually I'll show them this slide. And the important thing to note is it's not about the percentage of solids. The key thing is what makes up that percentage of solids. A low quality product on your right here in this photo puts a lot of pigments in there. Those are called fillers. You just imagine a bunch of little rocks, if you will, to fatten up the product, to beef up that percentage of solid content, but has no long-term value. A high quality product like ASTEC has the same solid percentage as some of the other products, but the resin quality, the resins are the glues, the bonding agents that hold the product together for long-term sustainability and renewability. So yes, both might be 62% solids, but it's what makes up that 62%. You want to have a much higher count of resin. You want to have a lower PVC, the pigment volume content, a lower amount of that and a higher amount of resin. And with ASTEC, we do have the premium out there, if you will, of resin. That's why we're able to do what we do. So big savings, it avoids tear-offs. It enables funds to be spread out to other avenues in which they originally might not have been allotted for, because you're saving money on what you might have budgeted for. You might have budgeted X amount for this, and you get a cost on a 15-year credible system from a company who's been doing it for 35 years, 500 million square feet, and now you're looking at only using half of what you had. That is one of the big benefits, and that's one of the things that I really want to stress. That's it. I think I went less than an hour, but Tony's right. I do tend to talk a little bit. At this time, I'd just like to open the floor. If there are any questions, I'd be more than willing to help.
I don't see any questions. Tony, go ahead.
Thank you, John. Folks, I'm going to hand out to you here is some literature for the ASTEC block. Inside the fold, we have the survey that was done, we have the proposal, and behind that, we have the different systems that we do. Metal, Single-Ply, and Asphalt.
Tony, those two gentlemen in the back, my facilities director and his assistant. I'll give both. I got one.
This is different.
Oh, different. All right.
Chairman, I have a question if I can. Damn it.
Okay, you want to hold your question? You want to hold your question, or you want to ask it now?
I can hold it. John, that's no problem. I can hold it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Inside that fold in the literature in the left-hand side, the first copy is going to be the survey that goes through the approximate square foot area for the facility. On the second page, I have a photo here that the substructure for this facility is a structural concrete deck. There's a acoustical drop ceiling there. There are no, I asked about leaks, and there are no active leaks reported currently. There was one in the past, but it has been addressed. The system is an asphalt granular surface cap sheet that, yes, it's aged. It's 23, 24 years of age. Yes, it's aged. It has granular loss, it has some alligatoring, and it has some cracking. But for an asphalt cap sheet roof, the seams are in great condition, and it's in relatively good condition. It is a great building block for this system to go on top of. Lots of loose debris from granular. There's lots of mortar and some sand up there, and I'm making kind of an assumption that was a work platform for some of the brickwork going on, and they did some mixing of some mortar there, so some of that product is from that, not actually from the roof itself. I've taken a picture and we got confirmation of this patch area. It is an ER Systems polyurethane product, approximately 500 square feet of that, and that was over an active leak. The next page shows the large cupola, and it shows a one-way breather vent. In asphalt roof systems such as this, you'll find one-way breather vents to allow that roof to breathe. One-way air exhaust out, it doesn't come into. Around all of the horizontal to the vertical transitions, there is an aluminized bituminous material that makes that 90-degree transition. Some of that is peeling and has some separation. That would be addressed. The next page shows a closer view of the actual cap sheet wear. It is worn to the footing as I walked around and surveyed the roof, the penetrations, the actual condition, and so forth. It is sound to the foot. I don't feel any sponginess. I don't feel anything that indicates to me trapped moisture. I did take a moisture scan with the meter, and it's further in this survey sheet to you, and I got 0 percentages indicating any trapped moisture within your existing system. But to proceed further, we would come back and take probably 4 core samples to determine and actually validate the moisture rate that's in or is not present within the system. The next page, it shows the loose sand granulars, and this is, I believe, over in this corner here. It has excessive granular wear on this cap sheet. It doesn't stop us from doing the system. We just have to do an additional process within that system to ensure adhesion in that area where the granular loss is. Below that, you'll see the moisture scanning. I took a photo. As the mayor and deputy mayor walked the roof with me, they can attest that each reading was a 0 reading for trapped moisture. Curbs. In general, asphalt systems are probably the best roof system that you could put up there. They're 3-ply systems with asphalt and saturated felt. They're 50 and 70-year systems. Where they fail is in penetrations, because there is no good way to waterproof a penetration with the compounds that you have to utilize in that horizontal to vertical transition. And that's atypically where the failings begin to happen. We have some things around the curbs. Again, referencing back to the aluminized bituminous product. Scupper penetrations. All of these are okay. We can salvage and use them as a working base. We do something a little different than what we do typical. The next page shows you the internal roof drains. So these roofs have great positive slope. It had rained about 4 days prior to me arriving to this facility 2 Thursdays ago, and there was 0 ponding water on it. So this has great drainage, which is a positive thing. Even though that we can withstand ponding water, atypically you want to reduce as much ponding water on a roof facility as you can. Below that simply shows the parapet transition. And the parapet wall is an EPDM product that I believe it's been painted with a latex paint. I think I got confirmation from the mayor on that as well. The next page just shows you further illustrations of those parapet wall sections. The last page shows you the lower roof. I didn't have access to get on that section. As access is limited, it is going to require a relatively tall ladder, probably a 40-foot ladder to access that. So we utilized the survey to the top middle section. The last page shows a canopy roof section, which is EPDM. There is an area that looks like it has a bad decking slot in it, and lots of pigeon deterring pins across the roof area. There's one photo there that shows, the EPDM is a flat surface, and on the perimeter edge you have a white Kynar finished drip edge, 24 gauge, and that is waterproof by a flashing tape that adheres to the metal drip edge and then back to the EPDM to waterproof that area. And there's a couple of slots there where that is split. So now we're going to look at any questions about the survey.
How will you address the scuppers coming in from the canopy? Those tubes with the scuppers coming in from that canopy.
The overflows are the through wall scuppers. Both would be addressed in the same manner. They have a base material that is put down on it and that is wrapped with cloth that gets additional layers of the base waterproofing layer to totally encapsulate that area. And then in addition to, we'll use a fibered waterproofing agent over that area and then go into the finished compounds.
I'm talking about the tube that's going through the parapet.
Yes, yes. It will, that inner circle there will be, that membrane that through the cloth and the waterproofing will be worked into and inside and out each side.
All the way through?
All the way through, yes, sir.
Yeah. We can't hear you. You need to come get on the mic.
where those scuppers are, there's a metal coping cap that's like under that parapet wall.
Yes.
Oh, and there's a gap there between the existing roof and that. So how would you like seal that off? That where that gap is, where the existing roof comes up and under.
The waterproofing and membrane material would go transition from the horizontal, vertical, and up and underneath. And as that dries, a backer rod of specific size could be put in there to close off that gap.
I was looking at the presentation, like you did a foam fill on the metal
Yes.
roof stuff. You wouldn't do that?
That could be an option. That could be an option. Beneath that, you've got a modified surface that is adhered to that vertical surface, and then that counter flashing is riglet cut into that wall. But yes, if that was a desired option, yes, that could be a desired execution within the system.
We can't say for sure, but we suspect that we've had just from blowing wind up there that water can get up and underneath that.
It is possible, yes. It is possible, yes. And if totally cutting that off, yes, that could be totally cut off with a backer rod transition put in there, or a close foam put in there, and then use the cloth and waterproofing agents to totally encapsulate and shut it off. So yes, that could be executed.
Commissioner Gannon, are you still with us?
Yes.
You want to ask your question?
Yeah, I think the first question I had was kind of answered. Your product, it's an oil-based product, is that correct?
No, sir, it's a water-based product.
Water-based. Okay, the other question was, you were going to spray or rope. During regular business hours there around the square, we have a lot of vehicles parked around the courthouse. Do y'all ever consider, I just want to make sure you consider spray.
Unfortunately for us, your particular roof is not on the convenient side. It's going to be a logistical nightmare to get to it, to get product up to it, and I cannot get our spray rig up there. And I'm not going to run the lines over the walls and up. So this particular application for you guys at this facility, if we do it, will be a total row facility. We will not be doing any spraying with any sprayers.
That sounds good. I like that.
I think with all the air conditioning, the pipes, the new installation of our LED light system, as you see, it's not even, I think it's on here.
The Google
on
image
Google.
doesn't show that new LED system.
Yeah, so there's a lot of obstacles in the way. It's not a clean application to spray.
Yeah, it's not clean. The price reflects the difficult logistical nature of things to
It's an old
walk around.
building. It's an old building. We just want to preserve it.
Yeah. So no spray rig on this one. Total manual rolling, and a lot of obstacles to work around that will cause us to do an installation, stop, go to the other side, do that, allow that to dry and get into a curing phase, and then come back and work underneath those obstacles.
Chairman, I was just curious about the
Commissioner
weight.
Dodd?
If you can keep renewing it over and over again, does it ever have a weight tolerance? Or is it so light with each bill?
It is minuscule. So here is a sample of what this will look like when it's cured and on your facility. I like to describe this product as this. It is a single-ply product that comes to your facility in a fluid state, and then we assemble it on your facility, and then it cures to this. Unlike a typical single-ply good, which at the factory, it's a fluid product, goes through a process and is cured and is spun into a roll and then shipped out through distribution to your facility. This is assembled and then cures to a single-ply process, but it's absolute monolithic, no seams. Weight-wise, so when we finish with yours, the proposal that I have to you guys is above spec. Spec asks for 3 gallons of base and cloth embedded in that per square, and 2 gallons of finish. We're doing it at a rate of 3.5 in the base material and 2.5 on the finish, giving us 6 gallons per square finish versus 5 gallons. Weight-wise, I'm going to be less than a pound per square foot.
Tony.
Yes.
John Brock here, if I may interject with ASTEC. This question comes up often with some of the very large manufacturing corporations that we use. John Deere, for instance, in Thibodaux, Louisiana, they had giant machines on rollers. Forgive me for the terms I'm using, but they had a lot of things that were mounted to the roof of their facility. That cranes, if you will, that operated back and forth, building all sorts of equipment they sell. That's the first question. One of the first questions I got from their risk management department. We literally are adding less than 0.4 of a pound per square foot. This is adding less weight than you would get from a conventional roofing system. Weight is not an issue.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
My final question. Thank you, John. My final question. Do the parapet walls still get a metal cap, or can you just coat them and they're done?
The parapet...
Curbs and parapets?
Yeah, we are not doing anything to the metal. We will be waterproofing up underneath. If the metal is desired to be, if it's rusty or anything, yes, the metal and copings and so forth can be rust treated and can be painted to some other color. But that's part of the advantage in your cost savings, is that we don't have to change out cappings.
Okay, we got another question.
So the roll-on versus the spray, do you have the same control with that as far as getting the same mill thickness with the product? And then 2 questions, sorry. How many mils will this be based on the usage you?
Okay. The first question, yes, no. I can achieve the mill thicknesses that I want to get to, which is going to be at 3.5 and 2. We're going to have a dry film thickness of about 55 to 60 mils, where if I'm spraying it, I can do it in 2 to 3 passes. I'm rolling it on. It may take me 6 passes to get this built up to that proper millage that we want at the end of the day. Therefore, this isn't going to be as economical of an application as we don't normally have within the system. It's more labor intensive to us, and there's no efficiencies on this roof at all to gain production. Everything about the roof is going to be slow, production-wise. But yes, I'll get to 55 or 60 mils, and it may take me 5+ passes to achieve that. Yes.
But we will still have the 15-year warranty, correct?
That is correct. It will still be a 15-year warranty. Any more questions?
Yes, Chairman McAdoo, if I may. Now, just to be clear, how does it hold up to hail damage, and is it covered under warranty?
Brock.
Yeah, hail damage, and I appreciate the question. Very good question. We get that question very often. One of our contractors who's been with us for roughly 25 years is a gentleman by the name of Mark Masto, who owns and operates Thermocoat LLC out of a place called Denver, Colorado. Denver is known for hail, lots of hail. And I will answer that question the same way that we answer the question when we speak to insurance agencies. You're going to get the same, if not better, hail resistance from our system than you would a rubberized single-ply roof. There's not a company out there that's going to warranty golf ball size hail onto a roof. That's an insurance claim. But your average everyday hail that you will get the exact same type of resistance as you would from a rubberized black EPDM roof or a white single-ply roof. Furthermore, if there is a hailstorm that goes through the area, Tony Todd would be there to evaluate the roof after the process, and we would help you with the best chain of action moving forward. Most of which, the beauty of a fluid applied is if we feel as if it needs another coat, then we would install another coat. In 14 years of working with this company, I've installed another coat because of hail damage. Keep in mind, I manage Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, amongst 10 other states, and Colorado. And I've had one need to come back and put extra product onto a roof because of hail. The others were insurance claims.
Kind of answered my question, John did, that if you got golf ball size hail, instead of having to rip off the roof like we normally do around here, you would just come in like on generation 3 or generation 4 and just another application, correct?
Absolutely. Target and bring it back to its monolithic state.
Gotcha.
We first have to evaluate, do we have water intrusion that we now have to get out? But yes, it will be brought back to its monolithic state. Going back to you, sir. The 2012 hailstorm that we had, I had no customers that reported to me, hey, I've got roof leaks, I've got hail damage, will you come look?
Rob.
Sorry, last question.
Do I have the authority to?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
So to extend the warranty past 10 years, 15 years, you come back and do a rebuild?
That is correct.
Tony said he wouldn't do a 10-year for us, he would do 15.
So we just do a 15
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wondering what the additional.
Yes, this system that I have proposed to you is a 15-year system. And at the end of that, it is eligible for renewability. So what happens in that renewability phase? We come back up, we evaluate it, we look at it, we clean it to get it back to a clean condition, touch up any spots that need to be touched up around curbs, roof penetrations, scuppers, and then put more finish coat back on top of it. And then they send you a renewal warranty for that X period of time.
Tony, John Brock here. If I may, the renewability of that warranty is in 10-year intervals. It's not renewed for another 15 years. It is 10-year intervals after the initial roof is installed.
So if we start with 15, it'd be a 10-year renewable.
That's correct.
Okay.
Got another question?
Chairman, yes, sir. The walking pads that you mentioned, are they attached to the roof, or are they just laid out while your maintenance crew is up there working on the roof? Or
Is that in reference to this slide?
yes, sir.
Okay. That you saw was a walking pad that was within that single-ply system, is what you saw there. So you saw either a TPO, a PVC, or a white EPDM, and that was a walk pad that was installed within that system. It wasn't the ASTEC system.
Oh, okay, okay.
Further to expand, if you need walk pad areas for service crew to an area, we can provide a walkable area, and that is achieved by building up base material, additional scrim material, and then additional finish material. And then we denote that designated path through some kind of color contrast. So we can achieve a walk pad area if that's desired.
Mr. Dodd?
There was a question about renewability. I thought I was jumping ahead, but since you brought it up, what is the cost of that renewability? Is it a percentage of this, or?
Let's talk in generalities. So this proposal here, can we go ahead, can we look at that, and I will answer your question through that, okay? On page 2 is the scope of work. And I have detailed out here to you within that a step-by-step process at which we will put your system on here. Power vac and brooming the area to get all loose debris off of it. We will put a primer there. We will allow that to sit. We'll pressure wash it off. We put on a surface conditioner. And the area that I was talking about excessive granular wear over here in this corner, we will be putting down a layer of it's a metal primer. It's called B1671, and it has absolute excellent adhesion properties to it. And so we're going to utilize that to that area. And then we'll go in with our base material. You're going to get 3.5 gallons per square on that. We'll put a base layer in, back roll it, get another layer, put the cloth embedded into it, and then we'll have, to get into 3.5, we'll probably have 2 more layers on top of that. And then we'll go down into the finished product, and we'll put 2 gallons per square, whereas it would take me 2 passes, maybe 3 passes to achieve that. It may take 5 passes to achieve that by rolling it. Within that process, we're required to take photo documentation of each process along the way. And at the end of it, we have to put in a report back to the manufacturer that shows the detailed of what was done for their underwriting purposes, and that report is also given to you guys. So you see that detailed photo experience of what happened to execute the roof. So to do this system for the square footage area, the roof is $47,857.62. Then below that, I have some line items.
Okay.
To try and break down some of the excessive cost associated with getting to a suitable substrate. The excessive brooming and power vacuuming, the tying into the ER system's patched area over on the left side here, working around the LED lighting and the conduit, the parapet wall waterproofing and roof tie-in, the pigeon pins off, pigeon pins on, and cut out and replace the EPDM section, brings the roof total to $54,772. We're going to call that Generation 1. In 15 years, we're going to go to Generation 2. And as a percentage, it is about 50% of that original cost to renew your warranty. All of the labor-intensive side of getting this roof prepared and prepped to build upon it, to restore it and make it sustainable is in the first phase in that first generation. So we don't have all that labor-intensiveness to renew it for that second generation, and that reflects in the pricing. Now let me backtrack.
Go ahead.
As I pulled in here today, to be early is to be on time, right? Well, I was here at 5 o'clock, and I was driving around the facility because I wanted to look at drainage and see how water was collected and gotten off the roof. Well, that drew my attention to the water heads and the coppered colored paint downpipe coming down the wall to the through wall scupper, and then to the drip edge. And then that brought me down to the brick. And you guys have just spent, I don't know how much money on a brick project and painting of the brick. One of the products that we use in the prep phase is a non-hazard rinsable primer that has to go on that rubber roof in order to re-energize, get rid of that carbon buildup that's on it, so that we have now a building block for adhesion with the other waterproofing products. Well, that product, as I power wash it off, and as it runs down that building, it likely will streak or damage that newly painted brick in some fashion. So I'm going to have to go back to this proposal, and I'm going to have to remove this system from that scope of work and change it to something else, because we do not want to mess up your nicely new stained or painted brick.
Got a question?
We don't need it.
Commissioner Johnson?
Question on the walk pads.
Sir.
Is that an additional cost, or is that included with?
It is not included in here. If walk pads are desired, it would be an additional cost, and I'll gladly line item that in this new amended proposal.
Thank you.
Todd, do you have a question?
Oh, sir, no more questions. Any more details now?
No, thank you, Tony.
Does anyone want to touch it?
You want to touch that?
The cured product?
That's his only sample. I asked him if he'd leave me one, and he said that because of COVID, they couldn't get it to him.
Our sample production guy, but it's a great sample. and it comes with hand sanitizer. Yeah, absolutely. But no, the gentleman that makes the samples, the facility has been restricted due to our current situation, and that particular phase has not been allowed back into the plant.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I might, when I asked Tony to come over, I did tell him that Ben had originally put in a replacement on this roof because we want to protect this historical building, and we're doing so much to it. The roof is everything, you know. You can't protect everything under it if you're not going to take care of the roof. But I pulled that from his budget because I was aware of a state grant, and so which goes into effect on July 1. I'll be preparing that list with Director Mankin of other projects that we have, you know, paving, roofing, other generator of the Sheriff's Department, all comes under that list, and I'll bring it back to the full commission. And so it'll be up to this committee if they want to put yours in, which I'm not sure why they wouldn't at this price. I think it's a very good price. And then we'll be prepared to go after July 1 when we get the money from the check from the state. So we're only about a month away from, we've already been allocated in this state grant. All counties and all cities have gotten this grant from the state. In that it says restoration, renewal, roofing, bridges, streets. There's a whole list of things, 911, facilities, et cetera. So that's how we'll approach this. So just want to let you know that again.
Something I want to add.
Got one more question, Commissioner Cook.
Part of this goes to you, part of it goes to the committee. Okay, where do you have buildings, it has this roof on it in Tennessee?
My area is Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee. Yes.
And what buildings can you name?
I will gladly submit a reference list to the mayor to distribute to the committee.
Now, to the committee, I need some memory brought to me. Is this building still on the historical list? And do we
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
And do we have to, with our roof, go by some of their guidelines?
No, ma'am.
Not the roof.
Not the roof.
Thank you.
I think the only thing that supersedes anything that's, in talking to our county historian, that supersedes anything that's outside the historical requirements is anything ADA related. It supersedes anything historical. So roof's not going to be in that position.
something that I must say that I would be remiss if I didn't say. Let's talk about application. This is a seasonal product. Here in the Middle Tennessee area, our season is basically, depending upon the year, mid-April to about mid-October. Freezing is a no-no. Low temperatures are a no-no. So that's the general installation period for this product category.
Sure. Makes sense.
Thank you, Chair. Just a final comment. I think when we talked, we held off on a roof. We ended up with a patch because it was hundreds of thousands of dollars was the one number that was pitched out at us a year ago. Very expensive, in the neighborhood of 400. And the Paul's roof we just did was $85,000 for a standing seam, I believe. It was an asphalt shingle, a shingle roof for $85,000, a typical hip. So this price is incredible. And I wasn't going to go down that path publicly at this time because I don't know what our bidding process is. I didn't want to make any false suggestions to these guys.
You're exactly right. But what I believe, Tony, I think you're the only one that does this type of roof in Tennessee. Is that correct?
I am the Middle Tennessee authorized installer for ASTEC in this area.
I guess, is there any other company that has another acrylic roof? I know there's foam roofs.
Yes, there are several people within the Middle Tennessee area that are within this roofing segment. Now, they're not going to give you this product. They can give you something in that product category.
Gotcha.
John Brock, are you still with us?
Yes, sir. You want me to expand on really how we're structured?
Yeah.
Okay. So as the manufacturer of this product, again, we spoke about not going through distribution. If you go through distribution, anybody who has a truck and a ladder can be an authorized installer. There's no pre-qualification, there's no vetting or anything. With us, we have a network. ASTEC has a network of roughly 100 contractors at any given time that are positioned throughout the United States. Each contractor is designated, for the most part, a territory. We like to keep contractors within a 2-hour radius of where they live. The main reason is for customer service. We don't want to give a contractor an area where he has to drive 4 hours away one way to service a roof. So back to the initial question, there are only 2 other contractors in the state, and let me rephrase that, 1 other contractor in the state, which happens to be in the far western part of the state, that are authorized to install our product.
Okay.
That's your question. Any other questions? Okay, we've seen the presentation. Do we want to try to make a decision tonight?
No, I'll take it under advisement. Mr. Chairman, be my recommendation, Tony, and thank you for your presentation, and John as well, and thank you for the bid. We'll meet again. When's our next meeting? June 25th. So we'll have a pretty good idea at that point in time.
Okay, very good. Thank you guys for your time in allowing us to come and make this presentation.
Oh, very good.
I will be remitting to you a revised proposal.
Yes, sir.
To reflect removing the canopy EPDM section away and doing something different.
Different on the EPDM.
And then line
and that's
iteming.
only about, what, 2 feet, Rob?
Yeah, it's about 2.5 feet by what the perimeter is.
On the outside of the parapet.
Yeah. It's not uneconomical maybe because of its condition and safe manner of working around it, but I'll end up removing that from this.
Yeah.
I will line item walk pads, and I will line item foaming of that counter flashing and totally encapsulating that in within the system.
Could we see that by next meeting? 25th of June?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Do we need to? Committee, do you want to make a motion on take it under advisement, or you just want to continue next month, or what?
I just take it under advisement. I don't think you need a motion.
Well, yes, sir.
I'll move that we take this presentation and proposal under advisement and check back next month with it.
Got a motion, to add second? Second by Commissioner Cook. Call the roll.
Mr. Gammon,
Yes.
Mr. Gooch,
Yes.
Mr. Joe Jernigan, Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Dodd,
Yes.
Mr. Cook. Yes. Chairman McAdoo.
Yes. Okay. Very good presentation. Now, you got a handout, so you may want to study it by next month, but that's a tremendous price. I'll tell you.
Maybe our schools ought to be looking at it.
Yeah. I think we're going to school board next one.
Oh, that's a lot of savings.
Okay, next on the agenda, Old Bank Building auction date.
Call on Mr. Sandlin to come up and make a presentation very quickly, and then I'll handle the rest of it since Ben went ahead and left, and I'll get us out of here. Sorry for the long presentation, but I'll go very quickly on the rest of the calendar, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Basically, the mayor held off because of the COVID-19 and things going on there with the pandemic and stock market and everything, and we held off, and now we've continue to have calls every week, interest on the bank building. So we're going to fire that back up. We've set a date of July the 30th at 1 p.m. We'll be setting up a scheduled week at the end of June for anyone interested to go take a look at the building. That will be in our advertisement stuff that we put out. We'll have a flyer that we'll put out and signs put out and all that. So. But July the 30th, 1 p.m. would be the date of the auction. Thank you.
Yeah, each commissioner hear that date? I received some calls. They wanted to know what date we were going to have this auction, because I think it was May, and we definitely had canceled that. Do you know, this is a question for you, do you know what the city is looking at in reference to their project?
I talked with Gary Whitaker today actually about some other issues, and they're basically trying to get the property demoed over there and get it greened up and looking at the next step. So that's just what he related to me today on that other project. But
their project's still a go, correct?
It's still a go from my understanding, but we, in relationship to the bank building, we keep getting calls from the same 4, 5, 6 people, and really interested in wanting to move forward, and when can we go, and so feeling like we're getting back to some normalcy, and with these many calls too, that we felt like July 30th is still 2 months away. And then we'll also have a review period for a week long there to come in and do due diligence for those buyers. Also stating the central business district zoning with the city, and for them to do their due diligence there as far as what they need to do if they want to do something outside of the central business district zoning. So if they need to make application to Board of Zoning Appeals or planning to do something else for that location, they would have time to get those ducks in a row prior to the auction. So,
Commissioner Dodd?
If I know in my business awareness in the construction world and development world. Banks are really pumping the brakes still. Certain loans are on hold. A lot of decision makers are still waiting. If we determine that it's disadvantages some buyers, could we postpone it? If anything transitions in this pandemic and we have a little setback?
Well, we're selling it with county commissioner approval. So the full commission, we'll hold the bid that day of auction for full commission approval. And if it doesn't turn out well, or if this spikes back up and something happens, I would say probably pull the plug again, if we're not, but we've had so much interest here.
It's just one or two people, the same ones interested.
Well, it's 5 or 6. So, okay. I mean, that's really good in a commercial setting like this, and we have done no advertisement. This has just been word of mouth of 5 true bidders. So that's what I'm excited about, in a position like this. So I feel like we'll probably pull another 8 or 10 true bidders out of our advertising and the stuff we do to promote the auction.
Any more questions? Any more questions? No. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Next on the agenda, courthouse renovations. Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, a quick update on the courthouse renovations. I believe we're almost finished. We've gone through the inside punch list. This coming Monday morning at 9 o'clock, I believe Bart Klein, 9 o'clock. Monday, we will be, Bart, our architect, will be here. We'll go through with Williams Restoration our outside punch list and go over the things that they say that they still have to do. I know they're going to paint underneath the porches on the west and east side. They've got to run some water lines. They're still working on, not water lines, but the gutter drains through the sidewalk on 2 locations. They've got a drain line they're working on, and then the Saturday after, a week from this coming Saturday, right after the farmers market, that'll be the first farmers market opening up for this year on the inner loop. They'll be coming in right after that, and everybody vacates. They'll be painting the sidewalks. The new sidewalks will be the same color as the steps coming in. But outside of that, they painted the chimney today where they had the bricks were falling out and they had to retuck all those brick. So I think they're just about done, and that crew will be moving on and they'll be gone. So that's where we are on the courthouse renovations. Judicial Center, I believe Ben and Rob told me that they got a call last night. Everything has been signed off on by the PBA. It's completed with the contractor out of Kentucky, and I believe they're going to start on the 8th on the renovation across the street at the old judicial building. I think we're going to start calling it, what is it? 20 North building. Still the old judicial building, because people get confused. Where's the court? Where do I pay this ticket? So we'll probably need to relabel that 20 North or whatever this committee wants to call it. Call it
OJ.
Oh, what? The OJ? OJ. Park of White.
Old Judicial.
Old Judicial. Yeah, I know. I got that. OJ. That's the OJ building. That's orange juice. All right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you on that. What about the community care?
Community care, give you an update on that. We did receive a PPP check last week that we applied for. It was $1.28 million. to help pay payroll, et cetera. We got another HHS check for $350 and another one for $150. So it seems to be doing well. We're still not ready to start the renovation and open up the wing for the contractors to come in. As long as this COVID-19 is still going, we're still not allowing family members or anything else into community care. But as soon as we get the green light, we'll continue there. But it's in good shape.
Okay, next, One Stop.
One Stop, we met finally. I've been telling you month after month, still waiting on state, and they called just last week and came down early and wanted to sit down and talk from the Department of Safety and General Services for the state of Tennessee, and they're ready to get going. And they said that we want you turn in what you're going to charge us. It's billed to suit by June 30th. You know, we waited all this time, almost over a year. We've been waiting on them, and then all of a sudden, you got to get it done. Give us a quote. So we've got Bart Klein working on that to figure out what it's going to cost to build the Department of Safety, the license renewal station, the THP facility in the rear. They're very particular about what they want, where they want them, how many doors they want, et cetera. We're much further ahead. I'm excited about it, that we can get that thing going. Once Bart gets the numbers to us by midweek this next week, that we'll be presenting our proposal to them of what we're going to charge them rent per month based on square footage. So they gave us the square footage and everything that they're going to need for that new facility.
Okay, any questions on One Stop? Okay, next, United Telephone Company Utility.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we've got a gentleman here from United Telephone Company Utility Easement. We had 3 easements in talking to our Nick Christensen last night. He was out on the patio. He's been working from home and et cetera. So we went over these easements that were forwarded to us by our former deputy to the mayor. And United, I think he's an ambassador now to United, working on their behalf. We had 3 easements. Nick says that we're not ready on the 2. One is at Christiana, and the other one is in Eagleville for them to use our towers to put broadband on. Bless you. But the one that he has reviewed and approved is the one right down here on West Main Street, where our old jail used to be. Okay. They are asking to bring broadband. I believe it's broadband. You want to come up and address us and identify yourself and tell us what you want to do. You want to bring that through the right-of-way easement on that lot right there on West, right here at the well. Just tell us who you are and you're with.
Hi, I'm Jerry Stevens. I'm the engineering manager with United Communications. What we're looking to do is we just built a new ring that goes from Smyrna down to the Middle Tennessee office, and that ring is very close to there. And the assistant state attorney, they contacted us about getting gig speed fiber optic service to their facility. The services they had, they were very slow. And so what we're going to do is we're going to build a ring. Basically, it's going to go down West Main, and it's going to turn up North Front Street. And of course, at the end of North Front Street, we're going to place what's called a fiber optic splitter. And then we're going to service them and then all the folks in the area. And that's also going to enable us, as other folks in the area want high-speed internet, we'll be able to build our lines and extensions to other businesses in the area.
And so how far off the sidewalk would that be?
We're just asking, we're just asking for a 2-foot easement as well as a 20-foot, just a temporary construction easement. And then we're just going to basically put our line right behind the sidewalk, you know, basically from across the street through that zone and then across the street and up on the pole.
If this committee decides that they want to try to sell that piece of property, which I'll probably be recommending that at some point in time, Mr. Chairman, we might as well sell it. It's, you know, put it on the market and let's see what we can do. Is this going to prohibit us from
No, sir.
Cause an issue for us?
It's only 2 feet.
Okay.
And what we've learned is that whenever these properties get facilities like ours built there, the property value goes up about 5%. So it's a huge benefit.
broadband,
And in
right?
this area, AT&T and the other folks, they don't have any speed or services that we offer. It's all very slow.
Okay.
Are y'all part of Middle Tennessee Electric?
Yes, sir, we are.
And are you going to be under their specs for depth and conduit and cover and inspections and?
Yes, sir. Well, basically everything will be placed 24 to 30 inches deep in conduit, all per, the normal specs.
Any more questions?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would certainly appreciate a motion so I can execute the agreement to allow them the easement on that coming from this committee.
Do I hear a motion to that effect?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Johnson. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, has our attorney looked at this ever?
Yeah, that's what I was saying last night. He was out on his patio, and I talked to Nick,
Okay.
and this is the only one that he has approved. He said the language is good on it, and he said you got the green light for tonight only on this one. The other two at Eagleville and Christiana that is on Elam Carlton's property, we still need to flush out some details.
Any more questions?
Mike, you don't have any heartache and woe with any of it, do you?
No, sir. We've worked everything out, and they've addressed all our comments.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Not call the roll.
Commissioner Cook? Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Chairman McAdoo?
Yes. Okay. Next on the agenda, probation lease extension.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is just basically for information only. The lease that we have down here on West Main Street for probation, Mr. Taylor Wright Properties here in town called and asked us, knowing that it's going to take us 8 to 10 months on the OJ building to renovate that. He asked if we would just sign a piece of paper month to month going for till the end of February of 21. So we'll continue. We don't want to move out until we're ready to move into that one. We don't want to look for temporary space for probation. So that's what we have done. So that's just for informational purposes, and I extended that lease. Conservation lease, next, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
Basically, that you all had approved that for the Conservation Board for the University of Tennessee, where Anthony Tuggle is at Lane Agra, and the renewal lease has been sent and executed. Just
Questions on that? You got anything else you want to present to us?
the only other thing is under other business, there's a gentleman out of Silver Creek Roofing. He does commercial roofing, has reached out to us. He's out of Elkton, Kentucky, just on the other side of Clarksville. He does foam roofing. I'm not sure that it's going to compare to what we just saw. If this committee would like a presentation, he can come to the next meeting. If not, and going back, let's take care of that first. If you want him to come, you can. He'll come make a presentation. If not, then we can go with what we have.
I myself personally think we should see the presentation.
Yeah, since this is a grant, I'm going to check with Reba. I think we don't have to go through the formal bid process because it's a grant. We just have to submit 3 quotes. So it's not like you submit it and we open the bids like we normally do. I think we just submitted the proposals, and if it's the only one that does it, that's what we submit as one to comply with the grant. But I'll verify that and get back with you.
I myself, well, I see the presentation. I see the presentations are very educational, so we're not going to lose anything if this gentleman want to go make a presentation on his foam roofing. That's just more knowledge that this committee will have on roofing.
Well, any type of roof in the future. I've talked to some other folks about the foam is that, of course, Ben told me that your traditional roofers say birds peck holes in it, and once the foam, you break that seal on top, then the foam acts as a sponge and becomes heavy with water. But there may be new processes, compared to the old modified bitumen or the EPDM roofs, but this is what we saw here tonight is unlike anything that I've seen that totally seals it.
I don't know what we would lose if we didn't see the
nothing to
presentation.
lose. We'll let him come on if that's good.
I know some commissioners that's not on this committee will ask the question, have you compared this to any other foam type roofing? And so therefore, when we go to the full commission, we can have some information that we have.
That's correct.
So,
and we have
I
plenty of
myself
time.
would like to see it.
Yeah, we have plenty of time. We don't have to submit our request on this grant. We have until April of '21, but I'm kind of like on the stimulus money. I want to get our list of everything we want for the $3 million that the state has given us. New telephone system for the sheriff, new telephone system for the health department, new roof for the health department is all in there. So I want to get it there before they say they ran out of money.
Okay. What about next month?
Well, I would like to be prepared. That's why I'm working, Deputy Sandlin and I are working very diligently to get as much information as we can so we can submit, have the full commission approval, and then submit it in early July. And most of all this is, on this grant is property, it will come through this committee first.
Can we see the foam presentation
Yes,
next
sir.
month?
Well, he's already scheduled to come.
He said he could make the June meeting.
Okay.
Had prior engagements for tonight, so he couldn't.
I have nothing else.
Okay, so June meeting, I don't think that would be out of pocket if we,
I think it'd be advisable for the rest of the commission.
Okay, we'll look forward to that in June. All right. Any other business? Everybody looking at Commissioner Gucci now? If not, call the meeting to adjourn.